Hello everyone, welcome back to SAYAM Draws Radio. Sorry about that. As always, we're going to be drawing together, so if you have a sketchbook or a tablet, feel free to draw along. Let's get on with our animation of that with Watame doing the dance. Gonna move on to the next frame here. This rain background has got me thinking about today. It's a good day today. Rained in the morning and then rained again in the evening, but rain in the evening was very strong. I wasn't expecting it. I hadn't checked the weather, but the rain came down so heavy while I was outside. Thankfully, I sort of keep an umbrella with me. Not at all times, but I keep it in my bag, so whenever I do have my bag with me, my umbrella will always be there too. So thankfully, thank God, I had my umbrella with me. I saw a lot of people outside today running around. Some just didn't care. I suppose they had given up. But I'm sure they were drenched to their very core because the rain was so strong that it was flowing down the streets like a river, But yeah, some people had given up, and that was a bit funny to see. They just didn't care. They're drenched. They're just. They didn't even have unpleasant expressions on their faces. They just looked like they were going about their day as normal. But again, like I said, thankfully I had an umbrella with me, so I was able to stay relatively dry. Just checking my reference here. But yes, how was your days? Was it also a very rainy day, or was it a very nice summer sunny day? I think I am a bit like those people who were out there in the rain getting soaked. I don't mind it. But if I hadn't had my umbrella, I certainly wouldn't have been so calm. I would have been a bit more panicky, I guess. I can't say that my shoes were left completely dry, though. When I crossed the street, I had to walk through the torrent of water that was streaming down, and just... Do you ever have the moment where you step into a puddle? If it's a shallow puddle, you won't feel the water penetrating your shoe. You'll just feel it splash underneath you when you step out of it quickly before the water can absorb into your shoe. But there was so much water on the street that the very second I stepped into it, the water saturated my foot all the way to the sock, just in a flash. That's just how much water there was today, flowing down. Honestly, though, it was quite a fun experience, because, like I said, I don't mind rain, and in fact, I think I can say that I like it. I like rain. It's not always the most convenient or comfortable, but I certainly don't mind it. But I really am thankful that I had my umbrella with me at the time. If I hadn't, I might be telling you a very different story today. Same thing with thunderstorms. I don't dislike them. I quite like them, in fact. I know that there are people out there who are very frightened of thunder and lightning, and I never really understood why. Yes, the sound is very loud and surprising at times, but for me, it's never been a very startling experience to hear thunder. You know what I don't understand, though, about thunder and lightning is I read once in a book. It was when I was young, so this is a very, what's the right word? Very amateur science, I suppose, but they taught in the book that you will hear the thunder 5 seconds after the lightning, and that's because light travels faster than sound. So at the origin point, the light and thunder are occurring at the same moment, but the time it takes to reach you is different. The light will hit you first, so you'll see the lightning, and the sound will hit you after, and you will hear the thunder. But what's always confused me about that is that hasn't always been the case. Sometimes I'll see lightning and I'll wait for the thunder. I won't count 5 seconds because I don't know, that's never really worked out for me. But there are times when the thunder will never reach me, or I'll never hear it, and I would become very confused because that is not what I was taught. So if any of you have an explanation for that, feel free to share it with me, because I would love to know what in the world is going on. There was a time when I was living in Mexico that I experienced a thunderstorm, and it was happening far away from where we were. So in Mexico, I used to live on a hill facing the Pacific Ocean. So from that hill, you could see the ocean. It was very beautiful. One evening, there was a thunderstorm, and we got hit a little bit. A lot of rain, but that was mostly it. But once the rain started to die down, I noticed off in the distance, in the Pacific Ocean, the thunderstorm was still raging on. You could see the lightning, the clouds. It was very dark, and it was very beautiful because it was so dark. you couldn't see anything. You really couldn't see the ocean. You couldn't see the clouds. But the lightning would strike. And it was very interesting to color too. If I recall correctly, it was sort of a purplish hue. And it glowed like nothing else. When it would flash, the clouds would be illuminated, and you could see the ocean and the clouds just vast every time a lightning would strike. And this happened for a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes or so. Every now and then the lightning would flash, illuminate the Pacific Ocean in the darkness, by the way. This is not the daytime or anything. It was very beautiful, very calming, and you know what? I think, this is my theory, I have no scientific evidence, I have no authoritative knowledge of this, so do not take my word for this. This is only my guess. I didn't hear the thunder, but I made an assumption that the lightning was so far away that the sound just wasn't reaching me. Again, this is not based on research, or I didn't even do a Google search about this. It's just a guess of mine. But I think the lightning was so far out in the Pacific Ocean that I could see it still, and it was very beautiful, but it was so far away that the thunder just wasn't able to travel all the way to my ears. Anyways, that's not to say that, I found sort of, I'm trying to think of the word, closure, right? Of figuring out why I can't hear thunder sometimes. But it was a thought that heightened the experience, just to be fascinated by watching a marvelous event happening, so far away from me. Anyways, been talking too much. do be very careful about lightning and thunderstorms. There are always stories of people who die as they are standing under trees in a thunderstorm. To be honest, I've heard of it, but I don't know how it happens, and I've always sort of been curious as to how it happens, because if you think about it, right? Well, for those of you out there who do know how people die by standing under trees during a thunderstorm, you will know, right, why it happens. For me, my question is, do people die because the lightning strikes a tree and the tree falls on that person? Or do they die because the lightning strikes a tree and because the person is in such close vicinity to the tree that they also get electrocuted and are killed by the lightning? If you know the answer, please let me know by all means. So, on the topic of being frightened by lightning and such, I do have a certain fear, and that fear is of water. I'm afraid of deep water. Doesn't mean I can't go in it. I'd always be happy to go for a swim in the ocean. I've also done some snorkeling, got to, in Mexico again, got to look at the fish under the water. It was very beautiful. Love it. It's a great experience. And snorkeling was also a fun experience because it's not easy to get used to it. You think that you can just put on, the mask over your nose and, put the snorkel in your mouth, and you'd think that you can just put your head underwater and start breathing, but that's not how it happens. Your brain, it seems, will often go into some sort of panic mode, and because it's unfamiliar, right, with how to breathe with all this strange equipment on your face, it seems like the brain can't really register how to breathe, and you have to sort of convince yourself that everything is okay and try to force yourself to breathe. That takes a bit of getting used to, just practicing standing in some shallow water, putting your head underneath the water, and trying to take a few proper breaths with the snorkel on. Definitely took me a while to get used to. But once I did, I sort of swam in the ocean, got to see all the fish. It's very beautiful. And I have a fear of those things, but at the same time, I have this weird desire to see something scary. And I suppose that's not necessarily a weird thing, because that's why we ride roller coasters and watch scary movies, because we want to be frightened and a little bit unnerved. So whenever I put my head under the water and I saw just how open, that space was, right? I couldn't see the ground, and as you just look into the water, the color becomes darker, so you know that there's some vast abyss a bit ahead of you. And I just kept thinking in my head, how cool would it be if a shark, just suddenly emerged from that darkness? Of course I would be scared, and I would start freaking out and swimming to the shore as fast as I could, but I still had that sort of desire to see a shark. And to be honest, that would be kind of cool, because I do like sharks. That's just because I'm scared of them doesn't mean I don't think they're incredible creatures. I would be scared because they might want to feast on me, but I would still be overjoyed probably at the sight of one. But anyways, it was pretty uneventful. Just saw a few fish. There wasn't even that much, there was just a few fish here and there. They were cute, small ones. Alright, well, that's all the time I have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me on SAYAM Draws Radio. I hope that you enjoyed the stream. I hope to see you again soon, and until then, I hope you have a great day or a good night, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.